Big red car.
You know what else is big? Do you know what else is big? The Beardy Bros Podcast! What's up, Jim? How are you, man?
Doing bloody awesome, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And we are ready for another episode to
Oh
carry
yeah.
us through the year. This was a bit. Mine may look a bit delayed. Jim's looking fantastic over there. He's got the Supremo run of the mill. I've got this little system running here, but that's alright. Yeah, so up to episode 3 already into the season. We're still in January. There is a lot that kind of has been happening, kind of has not. But we're
I
just
mean,
gonna.
it's been trickling out. Like stuff have been trickling.
Hmm.
So
That's
we've
gonna be
we've got that.
So I mean, being it's the start of the year, it's trickling out.
Yeah, not much really happens in January. Like it's always dead, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. So at least we've got plenty of the year to ride through, and it's. I mean, some people are saying 2021 has been pretty bad so far, but
I mean, it has.
it has. It hasn't. It's been. I guess maybe we're a bit more we're more about it because of how last year was. And then we're like, yeah, we're kind of expecting. Like we're kind of just like, eh.
It's. Someone said it was 2020 times 3, like 3 2020s or something. Like it's going on for 3 years, or like I don't know how they put it, but it was weird. I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like it's not as bad as 2020 though. Like except for the capital stuff. Other than that, it's been pretty much less of an extent
Yeah.
of 2020. Like,
Well, as I mentioned the capital stuff, the only funny thing I found lately, if you've been following that, is everyone that rated the capital, the House of the People, all that stuff now, everyone's starting to get backfired on now, if you've been following it, where
oh yeah,
everyone's starting to get fines, they're chucked on anti-flight lists, like it's everyone that basically didn't wear a mask that can be identified, or anyone that can be identified, is now being like held accountable for what they'd done. And it's like kind of hilarious. It's like people get going like, why are they just allowing the police didn't do anything? It was like, well, think about it, their safety and stuff. But they're like, yes, just come on in, welcome, we'll let you all through, but we'll get you fuckers later for fucking doing this shit.
I mean it makes sense because I wouldn't say there was unnecessary violence, but they've what's the word? Meditated? Like, is it meditate? What the fuck? They've minimalized the violence that could have happened.
That's like by just letting it happen. It's like, well, let's just not fight it and just let it happen, because I guess people are going, oh, look how the riots went, all stuff. It's like, well, maybe they've learnt from that and learnt don't instigate stuff which cause problems to be offhanded for both sides.
Right?
Just let it happen, not fight the situation, and then deal with it after the fact, which they're doing now by going, no flights, grand fines, all this crap, you're making, you're losing everything. So it's just like, It's like, well,
the security and that handled it well. Like, I'm not going to lie, they did their best that they could do.
Well, that one guy that led the crowds to a different area of the building, and another guy just went with the flow just so things wouldn't go out of hand. It's just like, yep, it was phenomenal.
I mean, if people do that, you just got to let them do their thing, and then they get bored and just leave.
That's basically what they were aiming for, I guess. So, but that's that. I mean, it's not anything to really affect us. It's them, people over in America. So, good luck to yous.
I mean, in the long term, it'll affect us, because if they turn on each other, America could be shorty screwed.
The new guy.
Like, they're already at war with each other. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Civil War 2.
Civil War 19 at this point.
Iron Man versus Cap. We've already had that, so I don't know what the next one will be.
But
yeah.
Imagine Trump versus Biden in a freaking boxing match. Winner becomes president. Oh, that could be a good movie.
That would be pretty funny.
Oh, did you see that they're trying to get Trump out of Home Alone 2?
Yeah.
Or they're trying to edit him out.
Fans and stuff have been doing edit memes, cutting him out and stuff, and it's been pretty funny.
But he's in like 17 different movies, like makes cameos in. Is that like rid of all of them, or just
I think it's
Home
just. I
Alone?
think it's actually just a joke because there's no way you can't actually get rid of him. Like,
But the news was talking about it, like it's just stupid. Like he was in there, like just let him.
well, people forget that he was an actor before he was a president. Like he had
Well,
his like.
not
What
an
about his
actor,
TV
but
show?
he
Like,
was.
he had his TV. Like he was a businessman, but he did a lot of acting. So he was an actor in movies, and like his career with this TV show where it was like whatever that was. You're fired. He's always like you're fired. I can't remember what that was. What that was.
The Apprentice?
Yeah, The Apprentice. That's it. Yeah, and
Was
he
it?
had
Was
that.
that the thing?
Yeah, yeah, and he was the big boss man for that, and
Yeah,
using that
like
small loan of $1 million to get himself
that's that's where he should have stayed. To be fair,
just stupid stuff, and then
he's a
businessman
he's a
actor.
fucking businessman, not a leader. Like if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So that's what that was. It was a bit weird. So
I mean, it is what it is. You can't change it.
can't change it. It happened. We've now moved on. Well, everyone's now moved on.
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
Twitter's the worst thing in existence. Also the best, but if people want to bitch and moan, they can.
Yeah,
an
it's
extent.
pretty fun. I mean, I've gotten more used to using Twitter a lot lately. I'm getting more the hang of how Twitter operates. I'm a bit of an old fish there for that one.
An old fish.
I'm old fish. I'm only 30, and I'm only like recently in the last, I say maybe year. I guess 2020 really was like really tried to start learning to how to appropriately use it, and like now
What,
like
the old fish?
the old fish.
Using the old fish, like
Yeah, Twitter's a weird one to operate. So
Twitter's a bird. Twitter's a bird, not a fish.
you're a fucking fish.
But
Yeah, ass
hopefully
hat.
hopefully everything just settles down in America. Like I'm sick of waking up every day checking Twitter.
That's just American news. More
It's
American.
not needed.
Well, I mean, the best news that we were confused by, I'm gonna segue this one, was when you sent me the stick figure photos of the cannibalistic stick figures eating each other. And we're like, what is this context? And it was like the cats, and someone's eating a cat, and it's like cannibalism cat, and it's like, what's going on? And then we were trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And it was Armie Hammer was up to something, and I was like, oh, that guy with that weird, crazy name again, up to some weird shit, whatever it is.
Fucking wicked name, Armie Hammer. Like, kind of like friggin' Armie Hammer. Like if Thor was in the army, the Armie Hammer. Like
the Armie Hammer. But then and then I like try to look into it, which I couldn't find anything when I first found it off, except for his crazy like photo on Twitter where he's like, oh, like I'll insert the photo. Will find that photo again.
Like
chuck it in here.
I mean, it could be fake because apparently people photoshopped it. So.
But what's been going
he
around?
hasn't said nothing about it.
Well, he's been he's trying to stay away from it. But what happened when I was doing some digging around today? Well, I wasn't even really digging around. It just came up in my recommended where I was like, what's some news to look up? What's some stuff that I can get to talk about? And yeah, so basically it was his private Instagram account it all leaked from. That he had he's being an actor, he's got his main one, that everyone sees, and he had more of a sub-quiet private one that was mostly not even referenced to be him, just so he could post stuff on there, but it was kind of like him giving himself away because apparently he would bag about his ex-wife on there, so it's like, well, this is going to be easily linked. If you're bagging about this woman, who's the only person that's linked to that? It's like him. It's like, well, no, shit, this is your account. Like,
right?
It's not that hard to link to that. It's like, oh, so he's like, apparently that was going on. Bitched about her, and he had photos of. I haven't fully found. I was tempted to try and find the account and to see what actually was like, but
yeah, but apparently all the stuff that was said was all Photoshop. So I mean,
yeah,
like he hadn't said that it's true or false. So I don't reckon it is because he would have denied everything if it is. Like he would have just tried to cover it all up.
Yeah, well, that's exactly because the messages apparently, like there's the private messages where he was talking about cannibalism and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, also, we've been joking about. Like, we don't know what's true and what's actually not.
If you've seen the spelling, if that's him, he's a very bad speller.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So it's interesting to see whether it was just like, was he being like, even if he was spelling bad, was he being a troll about it? Like, was he just being a smartass?
Or
like
incorrect spelling could also mean he's drunk. Or
well, there's that too because
there was a picture of him licking white crystals off someone's hand. I'm like,
yeah, there's apparently a lot of the photos on there which were like I said were of scantily clad women and lingerie photos and drugs and drug tests and stuff apparently are all
I
on
mean,
as well.
so unless someone's photoshopped what they saw him like doing drugs, drinking, like when he was drinking, like chugging on a beer.
Oh god!
Like he took a photo of it on his fucking dash. Like what?
I mean, well, the name like Armie Hammer. I mean, I'm not
like,
surprised. Like if
I guess someone's taken messages and maybe modified
pulled them out of
and
context, possibly. In this day and age, it's really not that hard to do.
Yeah,
You
like
can manipulate a lot of things. Like you can fake a lot of stuff up, so it's really not that hard.
Especially if you don't have any hard evidence that it's from him himself. Like, I could make something right now through my DMs and just make it sound very bad. Like,
yeah, and just adjust something here and there and make it seem like it's someone else. It's really not that hard, exactly. So it's kind of funny, like the whole escapades, and then like going when I was like trying to find his stuff though when I was on his Twitter account where I was like, where he was like his goals for 2021, where I remember like he's like, oh, I plan to be all this and this and take ruling of my world. It's gonna be me and everything, and then like a couple of days later, it's like, oh my back, I fucked myself up. You gotta rest and take care of yourself. I was like, what the fuck did he do? Go like in 5 days or whatever it was. He went from 0 to like 1,000 in like a couple of days, and he was already fucked up. Like it's not even started the year. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, as you know, fucking up your back is pretty simple. Like it takes one thing.
So it's kind of funny. So it was
because he is an actor. Like he could have been on set and tweaked his back, or
who knows?
We don't know. Could have been drunk again, high as a kite.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's really one of those things.
It is like. Hopefully, we have some resolution of that soon because I don't reckon it's real. I reckon it's real to an extent, just not what they're claiming, like cannibalism and shit. Like he wants to eat someone. Like I don't think that.
Yeah, I think it's just him just being a shit stir, most probably.
Being a freaking troll.
Yeah. This day and age, there's a lot of trolls around, so.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. So basically, for those that are listening, so this episode, there isn't really any topics. There's no topics this week, so. I mean, we're only 12 minutes in, so that's not too bad.
I mean, we can't really get one every week because that's 55 topics a year, and that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
52 topics.
Yeah, 55. Like, what year are you in? What galaxy are we in? It's 52. 52 weeks in a year.
The one that's not far away.
So yeah, I mean, you could have a lot of topics, but I mean, we're not going to always be topics. So this one's. So if you're listening, like, just let you know if you just don't want to stick around. We're just discussing some of the news this week. So there's a few lists that I've got going through here. So no topics specifically. It's just entertainment and gaming news that I felt was important, and I think whatever Jim's felt may have some notes. I don't.
But we do appreciate if you guys stick around because we do intend to be entertaining and like have stuff that you just want to like know about. You want to discuss it with us on Twitter or Instagram. Like, doesn't really matter where.
Exactly. At the polls, we share information. Commenting on that helps. Like, get interactive and involved with what we do. So that's basically the thing. And that's the thing where we're going. This isn't just the podcast. Now that we've got the video format, it's not just going to be a podcast up on the channel.
And hopefully
have new content on the channel. We might have topics to the side and do other stuff with videos. Who knows yet what exactly videos we'll have, but planning to have more videos. So if you keep sticking around, you'll get to see all that content. So make sure you watching this on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like the video and leave a comment if you like. If you're watching not watching, you are watching this. If you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google, whatever like that, if you like listening there, but you actually want to see it and you haven't seen it yet, of course, come over to YouTube, Beardy Bros podcast. You'll find us there. Yes, exactly. So we're doing pretty good so far. We're still getting our usual listens on the Spotify and everything like that, all those audio medias, all the podcasts where your favorite podcasts to listen to, which is us is one of them, which is muchly appreciated. We love that you're supporting us and still listening to us through there and also watching our video as well. So greatly appreciated. So we've already seen Juddy as always. He's already on board with both of it as always. Straight onto it as soon as it was up there, or basically he was like, I'm watching it already! So I'd just like to plug that in now, just before we get further through the thing and get distracted and kind of ramble on at the end. We want to appreciate all those now. So just want to have that now and say thank you So, so it feels, so you can see it, you get the appreciation. So, much love, much
Exactly.
respect. So, going on from there, I've got some. Did you have some movie, TV news at all? I've got a couple notes for
Um,
TV movie stuff.
yes, this morning, I was just browsing the interweb, and I see Nicolas Cage is in a movie. I'm like, oh, not again. But this one, I had to message Dale about it. I watched it once. I'm like, that's fucking epic. And then I'm like, hey, Dad, you gotta check out this movie, which is Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland.
Also, name of a dirty movie, apparently. Um, but yeah, this has got like Nicolas Cage.
What in the
He's
dirty
in
movie?
like here he's Nick Cage, isn't it?
Oh, the
But
bees! The bees!
if he has a reference like that in this, I will laugh.
Oh, he's gonna have something.
This movie looks freaking epic. If you haven't already, check it out. But I do a little summary recap of what it was. But his car breaks down. He's unable to pay for it to be fixed. So this, I don't know what to call the dude. Is an owner or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, manager,
An owner.
owner. Yeah.
Gets him to stay the night there and clean the old fun park, which is Willy's Wonderland, which sounds fun in
Diner.
real terms, but yeah, apparently it's an abandoned family fun center. And while he's in there, these weird animatronic mascots, kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's, they come in, they come out of the woodworks and just want to kill him. Like, apparently people have been missing there for years, wasn't it?
Like a
they
town
said,
folklore kind of thing that people that go there, they end up dying and disappearing or something like that. And
Yeah, like-
yeah, so it's basically like FNAF, basically.
it's just we've seen the trailer and he's having a blast. He's fucking laughing while killing these
it's
things.
so good. Like, definitely watch the trailer, but it was funny where it's just there's a bunch of typical teenagers over there to like just be like, you can't be, because they were going to burn the place down. They realized someone was there working. It's like, you can't work here. What are you doing? And they're trying to save him. He's like, he's a madman. He's not listening to us. And then in fact, he's just like, no, fuck all this shit. And I just love that line. Like I said before we started, I was like, they're like, when he's not trapped in here with them, we're trapped in here with him. And he's just like, fucking everything up, stabbing and murdering, killing everything. So I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be so good.
The weird part was, at one point, he was dancing, doing a circle. Like, he was actually laughing and dancing. Like, he seems a bit crazy.
Like a maniacal madman, yeah.
I mean, if you like Five Nights at Freddy's, this is like a movie take on that, but not Five Nights at Freddy's.
And if you like, yeah, exactly. Or if you like Nicolas Cage, just for Nick Cage. Then...
Who doesn't? The guy's a genius.
Oh, he's so good. So I was like, yeah, it's a Nicolas Cage movie that's kind of like more Nicolas Cage, just wild and nonsense. Like,
Yeah, because the ones where he tries to be serious, it just feels out of place.
he feels like he's trying too hard to be something, but like when he's more comfortable in his role, like Ghost Rider and stuff like that, like it's just great. He's just so comfortable doing what he wants to do.
I'll call it now. It's his next Con Air moment.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be so good.
Oh.
But also, if you want to watch it, it comes out next month on the 21st.
Yes, it's wasn't
Which is weird. It says premiered at home. I'm like,
yeah, it's
what
streaming.
home?
It's streaming to like
on
digital.
We don't know what on though. Like,
I'm guessing. I don't know whether it's meant to be maybe paid to rent. It might be a rented movie. Whether I feel like it'll be one of those kind of ones.
But either way, I'm still down to watch it on day one.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
But I just had to get that in there because I was waiting all day. Want people to look at it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, and I couldn't stop thinking of it. So I was like, yes, it's so good. What else I got here? Some little interesting news that I saw going around because everyone's been. I mean, there's been a lot of Star Wars news going on lately. So one of the biggest ones I liked was Lars Mikkelsen has signed on to play Thrawn in the Ahsoka spin-off series, from what I heard. And I was like, oh,
I saw that.
I was like, this is gonna be pretty cool. Like, I was like, that could work. Could work. It's gonna work. Like, it seems pretty cool. They know what they're doing. So I was like, this is gonna be interesting to see, like, how this is gonna go.
Is that like a Mandalorian spin-off? Like how that's from?
Well, it's all set around the same time, I guess around the same time. I think it might be further off because Ahsoka's trying to. Because in the Mandalorian, if you're caught up, I don't want to spoil anything, but we've already got Soka spin-off, so you should already know Soka's in it. But there's a thing she mentions Thrawn, so I'm assuming it's going to be her following after Thrawn, like after where we've seen season 2. I think the whole Ahsoka thing might be following from there onwards to try and find him
That's
now.
a
I don't think it's
long way
beforehand.
off, isn't it? Like that's
So
still not even in development yet. So
yeah, it's only just announced. There's still time for them to do. So I think it's meant to be anywhere from after season 2 of the Mandalorian. It's at least based. We've still got season 3 Mandalorian. We've got the Book of
that's
Boba.
well, isn't season 3 coming next year? Like Mandalorian now, like am I taking a big break from that?
I'm not too sure. It could be stuff. Yeah, it could be delayed for next.
Because apparently it said 2022. I'm like,
could be.
That's a
Well, they
bit
might
off.
move that as well, just so they can produce stuff, but then they have other stuff come out this year. So there's no point trying to spam too much content for now. Like,
I mean,
let's just have some stuff
my
released.
opinion, there is a lot of Star Wars stuff that people might get bored of it. Like,
Well, we got a lot of
there's-
Marvel stuff, so I think that's what they're trying to do. Is last year we had Mandalorian stuff. Now we've got a lot of the Disney TV shows starting this year that are airing on Disney. So I think they're moving that out of the slot, have like Marvel stuff play, and then I think it'll be quiet again for streaming for Marvel, and it'll be Star Wars, and then it'll be like maybe Marvel again. So they're kind of like taking in turns to like rotate for TV shows.
look, I'm not that I'm getting bored of Marvel, but they need DC to come in and with a few things to spice it up a little bit.
Well, that's exactly it. We just got to wait for that Justice League to drop.
When was that dropping? Because
It's taken
forgot
forever. There's still
about
stuff going on. There's still like a lot of work. I don't know what they're doing with it. There seems to
Still
be
the
more stuff they just
reshoots
keep adding. And
as
like
well.
he's like doing more and more. Like he's just adding more to it, making it a full series almost. Like it feels like it just keeps extending.
Like as we said before, the Jokers now we're not like fucking Jared Leto as a road weary Joker. Like
It's just everything just keeps getting added to it and more and more. Like it's just gone from like an extended movie that got split up to 6 parts. Now it feels like it's going to become like a full blown series. Like
I'm not going to be sad.
It made
but
more content to watch. I'm fine with that.
At least Zack Snyder, it's going to be good DC, not average.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting there. But coming back to the Disney stuff, being why they must do it because this year we've already started now. We've got WandaVision out.
Heard good things about that.
Which I've enjoyed it. It's been very mixed though so far. There's some people had early screenings have already got to see the first 3 episodes. On stream, only the first 2 have been up. But there's already been a rough overview where it's to try not spoil it, but to keep people up on what's kind of going on so people have a better understanding, because a lot of people aren't really understanding the show. So basically what the go is because they haven't really fully shown it, but Wanda is like, it's confusing what's going on, but basically they're in their own TV show. They're within the universe. Like it's not just like this made up nonsense stuff. Like and it's not just a TV show. Like it's like, oh, it's in parts every week. Like it's not just a TV show. Like it's meta TV show. It's like a movie, but they're trapped in a TV show, so they're releasing episodes as a TV show would. So it's weird how it's done. So if that makes sense, like you could watch it as a movie. If they could cut it all together, it could be one big movie. But each thing is like an episode because they're in a TV show.
I watched a bit of a teaser and I was like, nope.
Yeah, because it's like you're basically watching a simplified version. You're watching a TV show of a TV show.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the characters.
If you step back from how you looked at it, yeah. So basically, they're trapped in the TV show. They're kind of unaware that it's a TV show to begin with. Basically, if you watch the trailer, how the progression looks like it's going is, it looks like they're unaware that they're in a TV show. Then they start getting understanding that they realize they're in a TV show. They realize it's not a TV show, it's something else, and then they go try and figure out how to get out of that situation. So
I just don't like the characters in the Marvel universe
Wanda
because
Vision.
I like Vision before he become his own.
Well, in the trailer, there's an episode where it shows it's a Halloween episode, and Vision and Wanda actually dress up as their original counterparts of Vision and Wanda, what they look like in the comics. So
Okay.
Vision's got his original just straight like red face paint with the green like one's like morph suit on with the yellow cape. He's got that on, which is like so like throwback to the comics. And then Wanda's got that whole red dress thing with that weird M-shaped crown thing.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, so it's like a throwback kind of nod to like the comics.
But I mean, all those stuff be on DVD eventually. I'll probably watch it then.
And that's exactly it. Like
I've
already rewatched it.
By it.
Yeah, I'll mostly because the first episode was like 20 minutes. Like they're really short. Like they're like novelty, like old school TV shows because the lengths are really short. So and they even have in the episode their own advertisement as well, which is kind of funny. And it's like retro advertisement. So the first one was a advertisement for a Tony Stark invented toaster. And then the second episode had a reference to like a kind of like a knockoff. They call it the Strucker Rolex kind of watch, and it's got like made by Hydra, so little Easter eggs and stuff. So they got their own. They made their own advertisements to make it feel like an actual TV show.
Well, that's after the Avengers, isn't it? Like all this stuff comes after. Yes. Like how did Tony Stark invent a toaster when he's dead?
It's because it's meant to be set in the like 50s and 60s.
Oh, so I went back it.
It's because it's a TV show that's set in the past, so things were made in the past.
But,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just.
And that's why it's really broken. It's all over the place. It's. I feel like Doctor Strange, whatever was it, the Multiverse of Madness or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's going to have reference to this because. This is getting very twisted and mentally, it's going to get really messed up.
That sort of came up first, like, and then expand from there.
Well, that's exactly it. Originally, I think how things were meant to be released, content-wise, WandaVision was meant to be a little bit later. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was actually meant to be released as the first TV show.
Same as,
they delayed it, and then we were supposed to already had... Black Widow should have already been out. And there should have been other stuff that we should have already had content-wise for Marvel.
Because this WandaVision does not make any freaking sense.
That's the point. It's meant to be followed up. So I should have had more of a disclaimer because we've really got into this. So I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer.
Because the Multiverse of Madness comes out next year, I think. So we're gonna have to wait a whole year or year and a half for that. So
we've got that. So there's that. That's the Multiverse of Madness, which is gonna connect a whole bunch of crazy shit together. We've got. Oh, there's also talks of like there was a rumor talk where the next Captain Marvel movie would be possibly having Rogue as like a villain.
Rogue
from X-Men.
Oh, the Death Lady touches people. In
yeah. So she's apparently going to be a villain, but there's mostly rumors that she's going to be like the subpar villain, like maybe.
So that means
X-Men starting to come in.
They better have Marsden as fucking Cyclops, or I'm out.
Yeah, like it's going to be interesting to see if they do recast it, who they're going to do it. So
they can still play their parts. Like they're not old. Like Storm, like Halle Berry can still play Storm and shit. Like,
well, that's exactly it. But I was looking up stuff today. I don't know what led me down the rabbit hole, but there was some. I don't know if it's actually like what's going to happen, if it's anything substantial. But people had I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays Homelander in The Boys. I can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, but he's that Kiwi actor.
Yeah.
But like people had renditions of him as Wolverine. And I'm like, when was this a thing? I was like, what? I'm like, when was this a thing that people wanted him to be Wolverine? I was like, I've never seen this before. And
I reckon Jackman, if he was offered the chance again, I reckon he'd take it.
But it was kind of interesting looking at him. He kind of almost looks like an offside younger version of Hugh Jackman in a way. It's so weird. Like he looked, yeah, he's like Hugh Jackman from Wish because he looks kind of like him, but then doesn't. I was like, this kind of looks like a young Hugh Jackman, but then not. I'm like, this is weird, but like it could work. And I'm like, okay.
But it'd be weird if they did that because the Torch, Chris Evans having two characters, like.
Well, that's exactly. You'd have to scrap a lot of that. That's why I think they'll eventually like introduce the new like different casting of the human, like not because but like Fantastic Four and.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but apparently there was a thing going around that Chris Evans wants back in the MCU.
well, that's the thing. Apparently, that's actually another thing that I saw yesterday. So you're bringing up more news that's reminding me of MCU news.
I saw a tweet that he's like news to me. I'm like, people are making rumors, man.
Then this was apparently coming from Marvel themselves. Apparently that they were saying that Captain America's coming back. And he's like, he tweeted back going, shrugs, it's news to me. Like, Marvel are like, we got Captain America coming back. And he's like, and you're telling me or not telling me? Like, is this how you're giving me the news that I'm back as Captain America? Or is it like, is this going to be an alt universe and it's going to be someone else playing me? But like, what's going on?
The multiverse thing?
Yeah.
I want him like as himself again.
I'm wondering if we're going to see the Hydra version of Captain America. But that would be kind of cool to see. So...
I don't want Red Skull back.
Well, we kind of saw him come back briefly, but then the whole actor changed as well because Hugo Weaving's like, I don't want to do it anymore. Why'd I go Arnold? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't know, because I don't know what I was going there for.
He's fucking English. What are you?
he's an Aussie, isn't he? Aussie, Kiwi?
He's from England, though.
England. We claimed him as an Australian citizen, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like Mel Gibson and everyone else.
Good old John Mibson.
And Jackie Chan.
No, we didn't claim Jackie Chan. What do you mean?
Are you sure we didn't claim Jackie Chan? Not fully?
I mean, we got Hugh Jackman at least.
Yeah, we got Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe.
Chris, fuck's sake.
We didn't claim Carl Urban. We already got Chris Hemsworth.
To me, like we got them. We got half of the MCU kind of.
And that's
half the Avengers
movie stuff. My brain's.
But yeah, like Captain America, I don't reckon he's coming back unless it's for flashbacks. So
this is really bad.
Because he got old and I think he died, didn't he? Or gonna die somewhere along the line.
Something like that.
He was mighty old in like the end of whatever movie it was. My brain scrambled.
Was that Captain America?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, where he went back in time and he came back and like he grew old with Peggy and all that stuff. So
yeah, like he died.
He died.
He did. He would have bumped uglies and died.
What other things have we got? I've got some gaming stuff. You got any more TVs and movie stuff to go through, or is that...
I've got. This is technically both. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, you just. Oh yeah. This is more MCU. But Deadpool officially got listed in the DC.
Yes, he got listed. I mean, he's Deadpool. He could get listed wherever the hell he wants. He's Deadpool.
Yeah, but Deadpool 3 is officially in the multiverse, like in the timeline now. Like,
yes,
and it's R-rated.
I know, which is gonna be cool. I think again, he's the one that's gonna be introduced. I think in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I think they're going to have him as a cameo in that. So I feel like that movie is going to be like jam-packed with all the
movie. It's a whole movie.
No, yes, exactly it. But I think to see him actually in the MCU first, he's going to be a cameo in that.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, his movie comes later on down the track as his own.
So there's Blade as well. Like Blade could be in the multiverse and then introduced later of this movie.
It's like it's going to be bigger than Endgame. I feel like the way they're going.
Because Blade was the first Marvel movie, like. Back in the 90s, like
that article, basically. Oh, I have to bring that up.
He pretty much greenlit Marvel movies from then on. Like
that's exactly it. If it wasn't for Blade, it would have like stepstone for what they could do.
Deadpool, I think they'll have the R-rated and have that Christmas one again, like the PG for the kids.
The knockoff, like hybrid. Maybe they might learn better from this time because they kind of worked and it kind of didn't. It's like some stuff felt forced, some stuff just got cut altogether, which made the pacing a bit weird. So maybe they might do more novelty.
They didn't really care. Like they just watched it, had fun, and
yeah, it was still good. Like I watched it. I was like,
we'll still get the R-rated stuff. Like we'll get the R. They can have their little kiddie one.
I bought it for lols because it was funny how he's reading that book to the what's his name. He's tied up in the bed and he's just like, like it was kind of cool. Where scenes where they had stuff where it was too long of a scene to when they cut it out to make it feel where it felt awkward, they would cut back to that. And that's kind of how they worked around it. So he was like made it like he was reading the movie script to him. So every time we got to a scene where it was too much and he couldn't, and like if it was too long, they'd cut it there, cut to here, do that talking, and then they cut back to where the scene would actually continue on after it had all that stuff. Which I'm like, that's genius to do. That works. And then there's other times where they actually just cut it in between a scene, pause the scene, and then come back to the scene just where they paused it, which was kind of cool as well. So they kind of.
I reckon they would do that format to an extent, but probably change where it didn't work from the last one. maybe. Like, they'll see their errors and fix it to something new to try that.
It was insane to actually see a full proper Deadpool format in video, like, because there's comics out there where Deadpool would be like metaing the comic book the whole time, where he would pop out of the comic book kind of thing, and have like where he'd be like look like he's reading the comic book within the comic book, and then come back to it. And it's like
that makes me concerned about the Blade movie. That's meant to be R as well, but they haven't said anything about that, or MA even. Like, if they make Blade kid friendly, I'm so done.
No, I think he'll be a higher rating. He'll have to be pretty.
Because yeah, but it's not R though, unless it is R. Because Blade was always like my movies are MA.
For us, it'd be MA most probably. For America, it'll be R.
Yeah, but like it has to be that because he kills a lot of people.
Because it said Sony. What's the rating? PG.
He decapitates. Or something? Yeah, but Blade isn't PG. He's on the same par as Deadpool.
Oh god,
really.
Yeah, exactly. He's like brutal.
Like, because he has the same kind of personality, like less vocal, but he's more he's like always fuck you, fuck this,
He's like
fuck
the Punisher
that.
as well. He's like the Punisher. They're all like up there with
Punisher's like, meant to be coming in there as well, apparently.
No holds bar.
Hasn't been confirmed.
Oh, that's another one as well with MCU stuff. I don't know if you saw the article referring back to Nicolas Cage. Did you see that? So I guess we got MCU topics. No, can't didn't. It was unintentional. So that's the other thing. Actually, it's mentioning that back to Nicolas Cage. I don't know if you saw the article, but apparently they want to get Nick Cage. Someone, I don't know, but it's coming from Marvel from what I was reading. To get Nick Cage to come back as Ghost Rider.
He's a bit old for that now.
So it's kind of like that'd be interesting if he came back as Ghost Rider. Like
he has to get that 6-pack back.
Like he still apparently has it. Or it's like not.
Yeah, because in that Willy's Wonderland, he was fucking buffing that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, man, these old blokes.
So maybe that's preparation. He's doing this while then doing Ghost Rider.
Because I mean, technically in the universe, I mean, it doesn't really it passes on. Ghost Rider always passes on. It's no set real person, but technically Nick Cage was.
It ended with him.
Didn't
it?
Well, in the movie, Johnny was it what? Well, then because in the other
Johnny Blaze,
and then in the like actually in Shield, it was a different character altogether that came Ghost Rider. It was actually a different character. Like he wasn't Johnny Blaze, but he was Ghost Rider.
But if they can bring Johnny Blaze back,
well, that means maybe that's why they were going for. Maybe that's why they went away from Johnny Blaze. Hey.
Was the Ghost Rider movie from 2007 a Marvel movie though?
Yeah, no, it was actually Marvel. It just wasn't part of. It's part of the old Marvel. So it's like Blade, could be in that Blade universe kind of thing because it was like Fox or whatever it was.
Yeah, because it was before Iron Man. So.
So it was in that kind of category.
Yeah. Or two.
But that's exactly it. Which I think maybe that's why when they made Ghost Rider for Shield and stuff, they didn't go Johnny Blaze and they went with a new character because maybe they're leaving that open so they could have that window for if they do decide to do that, have him come back.
Well, if Cage is in the MCU, he's revived his career pretty much.
Oh yeah, the amount of actors they're pulling out though for like MCU stuff, like whether it's for the movies or for like the TV shows, there's like actors coming out of the wazoo they're pulling out. So
I'm still hoping Snipes is back in Blade as like pass the torch to the new guy and like
have a cameo of some sorts. Imagine if Wesley Snipes, like if they had that reference to Dracula. You remember how they had like the Dracula kind of? Imagine if that's ends up being Snipes. It's like Snipes, like the OG vampire. Like,
but he's not really a person eater though. So
imagine if they play him off differently. So it'd be interesting to see.
Can't change it because he was a good guy. So
no, but like it's not Blade. Like it's he's playing a different character. Like Snipes is in it to kind of make a reference, but he's a different character.
Yeah.
So he could be like more of like the bad guy, but I don't know. Who knows?
Nah, it kind of muddles everything then because he was a good guy, then he's a bad guy.
I guess people think, but it's like not related. That's the thing. You'd have to have something.
Because Blade just got a 4K remaster, so I'm thinking Snipes is going to be back in some form in the MCU. It's like handing the torch to Mershuralama, whatever his name is.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, is he going to be Blade or is the Blade a title? Like, is it going to be a name title? Like
I think Blade,
Ghost Rider.
Because what's his name?
I think it's meant to be actually Blade. Like his name.
Eric. His name's Eric.
Yeah. I think it was. I guess it was. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I watched it. And Blade, I guess, is a title.
I think Blade's a title because he got given to him by Whistler, wasn't it? I think.
I think so, but depending on how they go. But I guess that was their logic, maybe. That was their
Still done by
law.
Marvel, so.
So it depends on what they.
Who
I can't
knows?
remember much of it.
I'm hoping he's back and just like, oh, the gig's yours now. Like he'll teach him the ropes, like be a mentor to him. Like that'd be dope.
The big thing still is they're still trying to figure out where to get Keanu Reeves into the MCU. They're still trying to figure out where do we get Keanu Reeves in. Like, where would we get him? Like, because apparently for a long time, I think it was Kevin. I don't know if it was Kevin Feige or if it was what's his name?
No, but you need Johnny Bernthal as Punisher. Like you can't change Punisher now.
After having the other guy, like they were good in the past, but like
is that still going?
Well, it's weird. What's happening? So some stuff they're bringing back still because apparently, well, She-Hulk's definitely part of the MCU, but they've got what's her name who played Jessica Jones having a cameo as her character in She-Hulk. So they're actually stapling that properly back into the MCU. So you've got
the Punisher. Did that just get cancelled? Didn't it?
Yeah, a lot of that did. Like Jessica Jones didn't get continued. Daredevil didn't get continued.
No, Daredevil's getting another season right now. I think.
Was it Luke Cage? Well, they're all starting to come back now.
They're apparently
but they were on on Netflix. They're on Netflix. They were all Netflix cancelled them all, but I think that's because Disney, like the whole Marvel thing, I think they're buying them back over. That's why they cancelled it because I think they had that licensing thing. They had to cancel. To have them on. And people go, "Oh, why are you cancelling, cutting it?" It's like, well, because technically they're part of MCU, and where they're plotting it out now, where it's going. If they've got what's her name as Jessica Jones coming back for She-Hulk, She-Hulk's actually MCU content. If she's playing a character, that therefore means the guy who played Luke Cage, because they had the Defenders, wasn't it? Whatever it was, that series where it had all four of them in the thing. So that means they're all part of that universe. So that means if you're bringing one character back across, that means you've got to bring all the characters back across. So
not necessarily all of them, but the main ones.
It makes that universe, they're all part of the same thing. Like Daredevil's the same. You couldn't really change them up because unless you're going by dimensions, universes, then you could change characters slightly.
I think like we've had like 3 Punishers, I think, like in real action, like in the real life action ones. We've had Bernthal.
Oh, there's actually.
I can't remember.
Maybe 4. If you're thinking in general, if you're thinking before the TV series or including the TV series.
The TV series. Oh, yeah, and the movie as well. Like
because you got Lundgren that's played the Punisher. Thomas Jane, Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane, the other guy, which was that Warzone, Punisher Warzone, and then
I've seen.
And then
I've just seen the Thomas Jane and John Bernthal, which Bernthal fits that perfectly. Like he's the best Punisher.
He hit that to a T. Like Warzone was pretty good, but it went pretty brutal. It felt more like the game a little bit more, like where the game went a bit brutal. That it was funny.
Oh, the Bernthal one was pretty brutal. Like he was not holding back.
No, but that's what I mean. So before
good.
So that the TV show really took the character and just went like, let's go with it full percent because they.
I mean, it started slow. Like I was watching it thinking, just talking, but then all of a sudden, it clicks. It's like there he is. Like someone fucked him up, and he's just gone full ham on people and hunting people down, and
nothing stops him, and he's like getting hurt and like near on death, and he's still going like a tank.
That's the adrenaline, though. Like if, like it's just go, like
and that's the thing. So. There is room for that to come, and that's why I still think because she was part of the MCU, that's why I still think that's why they went with the different route with a different named character and kind of like, and like in the past too, like Daredevil had made reference to the first Avengers movie when the aliens attacked. Like through that, they made reference to that event, but not exclusively. Like they kind of referenced it. So they already planned what they were doing. It's just, I guess they could only go so far with what they're doing with Netflix and stuff like that.
Spoiling stuff as well.
Yeah, to go too far and then try and keep up with it when you've got... Because you can't have a TV show go too far ahead with making their own story, but then having Marvel doing their movies with a story, and then it doesn't pair up with the timeline. So I think that's why they might have stopped as well.
Which is good for stopping their Netflix and like stopping all subscription shows, because then... they can do them themselves and have them come out in a specific order. Like
and actually, and I think that why makes sense, which works. Why you see where
Punisher was such a good show, and it just like
Well, yeah, and that's happened to all of them. They all like just ended, like they all just wrapped up
I
without like left them
mean,
on cliffhangers.
Defenders and that were tanking pretty bad. I think.
Mm. And I think it was the
Like
struggles
gone bad
because I
already.
think, and like I said, I think it comes back to them being limited to what they could and couldn't do.
Yeah,
And I think that's why, because the whole thing again with the movies, like they could only be limited with what they could get going because they could only do so much without getting too far ahead. But I think that's why it works that Infinity War and Endgame have that nice gap in between. So being that there's like that 5 year gap, there's that whole leeway now that they could make anything within that gap
oh fuck yeah!
as well. So there's a lot that they
I mean,
can do
that's how
there.
Guardians fits in because that's in its own thing as well. Like that was its own spin-off thing, and now
So,
it's in there. Like
Yeah, and they and everything they do, you start watching stuff down the track, and you're like, oh, they set that up like 5 years ago when they filmed this thing, or they did this and they've used it. So they really think what they're doing and work with what they have. So I definitely feel there's a lot of room. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to see, and that's why people like going on with the whole WandaVision thing. Like, there's a lot that they're setting up that's going to lead to a lot more than what's
I
going
reckon
on.
I'll skip that because it's just seems forced. Like it.
You'll pick it up. Well, I'd say wait till it's all out if you're feeling a bit off. Or wait till it's all out and then just binge watch the whole thing, because I've already
For 20
rewatched the
minutes
episodes again.
Like,
No, I've already rewatched the episodes. I've watched them again because I'm like, I want to watch more of it, but I can't. So
that
I'm gonna
makes
rewatch
sense
it.
to you, or you still kind of lost.
No, I knew. I know. I said I know exactly what's going on. That's why I don't want to spoil too much. I already get the understanding of what's happening, and I know where it's going to go because I've read comic books. I know, and I've followed where Marvel goes with stuff, so I kind of know where they're going with it. And I know the meta conception, what's going on. So they're already starting to introduce Sword as well. So
I've no idea.
so Sword is another division of Shield. So it's kind of funny how the agency is
Pokemon
Sword and
now,
Shield.
Sword and Shield.
So Shield's the division that's on Earth, and Sword's the division that's in the sky, in space.
Fuck Pokemon 2.0.
So that's been around for years. So,
But yeah,
and the giant sword spaceship in space is Sword. Well, that's the other thing too. So basically, what it comes down to is, you know how at the end of Endgame, not Endgame, Captain Marvel.
vaguely.
Yeah, was it Captain Marvel? Yeah, because the whole no, it was Spider-Man.
Far From Home.
Yeah, you know how at the end of where it ended up being that it wasn't Nick Fury, it was the Skrulls were impersonating them, and Nick Fury was on that ship. So that ship was the Sword ship.
Ah.
So and with that, so that's the Sword ship. So that's what they're referring to now in WandaVision, is it's the Sword division, not just Shield now. So they're referring to that. So they're trying to like because it's set after Endgame, the whole series. So
I've missed a few Marvel movies, so I'm kind of lost. So I've got to watch pretty much from the start and just watching the continuation.
just watch them all. There's plenty of time to do it. So
Because I haven't watched any of the Marvel shows, except for the Punisher, because that was the only decent one I liked.
yeah, Shield was here and there. There's
Shield. I did like that.
I think it got a bit weird, and then I lost track of it.
But I kind of liked Legends of Tomorrow, the DC one, more than Shield.
Yeah.
Because that started like House on Fire, just went and kept getting better. Like, ooh.
Oh, so good! Like I've got a couple of seasons there of my own on DVD because I'm like, I want to watch them all. I've watched the first season.
That's still going, I think. So
yeah, there's heaps of seasons of that. It's getting like crazy good. Like I've watched some of the trailers and seen like snips.
Like I've seen more DC shows like Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. Like I've seen all them, just not the Marvel ones. Because that's the thing. Marvel shows lack. Movies are good. DC shows are good. Movies lack. Like
yeah, it's always one of those things. So we'll start carrying away now. We'll come back from all the Marvel, so that we had a big Marvel topic unintentionally. Let's get back. I've got some more news here, so we've got some more articles to discuss. I wanted to go over as well. So coming back, we've discussed this, or I've mentioned this for you in the past. So Epic Games is not letting up, and they're still pursuing their cause on taking Apple and Google to court. So they've gone through the UK division at this stage because they can, due to, I guess it comes down to their laws. So UK laws for copyright, or not copyright, but like content and stuff like that is a little bit different. So I guess they're going, well, we found that we can approach them differently because laws are different here. So they've decided to be a bit cheeky and go the UK route. because I was reading into the article that they're going to use the UK route, and if they can get that processed, they're going to try and use the UK route to access the American route at the same time. So they're being a bit shoddy about it. They're being like, we want to get our way. We want all the money for ourselves.
Point, they're doing what they can to get their game back on platforms, so makes sense.
It makes sense, and they're saying at the same time they don't want any money out of this. They're trying to create a new example for further content creators as well. They're trying to use that as their excuse as well.
Just think, fucking Apple wanted more money, and they just like, we'll take it off.
Yeah, so I got where is it? I got a synopsis here that I copied. What the main thing was, where was it here? Epic Games alleges that both companies abuse their power by unfairly restricting competition from alternative app stores, stopping developers using their own payment process services for purchases, and charging unfair prices for distribution of apps. So that's what they're trying to fight them against for. It says here, Epic Games is not seeking a financial payout, but instead wants the court to order Apple and Google to reinstate Epic Games software and accounts, let developers use their own payment process systems in their apps, and let consumers download Epic Games software outside of the App Store and Google Play. So,
it's just fair, like...
shouldn't have
been greedy.
Yeah, and I guess if they do go further with this, it will be kind of good for all content creators in a way, because then anyone that's making an app can make, I guess, because you know how you get like those $5, $6 kind of currency things, they're most probably more inflated because the person who has those prices, they most probably only make $2 back, and the other part goes to Apple or Google for their fee. So that's why they have these such inflated prices. So if they do that, then it's either directly going to them or they can make the bundles cheaper.
Because didn't Epic make their own and they were a lot cheaper?
Yeah, it was. It was like a fair percentage cheaper. Where normally it used to be like for the 1,000 V-Bucks was $15, and then they were able to get down to like $12. So there was that $3. It's only $3, but that's $3 that was going to whoever service was taking it, and not to them. And that's what they were trying to get at. Like, why should we be? Why should consumers or the customers that we have actually coming to us have to not just pay us, but then give you money as well?
Considering Epic's making the content, they're just distributing it. Like, they're just putting it on their store. Like, they're not making any of it. They're just getting some free bucks.
Money. Yeah.
Which, a community getting even 50 cents is enough. Like, they just put it on their platform.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, the thing is, they already had to pay. Like, any studio that you put the app on, they would have had to have already paid to advertise the app on there. And they've already wanted to stop doing that, so they wanted to have the apps free because they didn't want to have to pay these fees to keep the app up on the site. Like, they're making money back because people pay transactions, but technically the app is free. Why put a free app up for people to download for free, but then they would have to pay, say, for example, $350 every month to keep the app up on their store? Like, that's what they're getting at. It's like, why should we pay to keep the app up in your store? Because that's like any consumer, people don't realize. If you want to have an app up on a store, you basically have to pay, and that's why these free games have bazillions of ads nowadays, and because they charge ridiculous fees to have games up in stores.
Fortnite doesn't need ads to keep it alive.
No, it makes enough money as it is, but that's why you see all these little apps these nowadays that are free for any kind of mobile app. You get like bombarded with thousands of advertisements because they need to pay to have it up there. Otherwise, they can't have their game up there on the store. And it does. It ruins for any kind
It also depends how big you are. Like, if you're a little unknown, like, just say, like, Epic's up here.
Yeah.
And you're down here, they'll charge you fuck all to put it up there, really.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know you can't really pay it. Like,
It's weird because I looked into it at one point. It's still very expensive. There was
because it's not like
monthly
Epic
fees.
has to pay, like, just say, a couple of million, and the little developer pays, like, couple of hundred, like it's kind of like that, I reckon.
There was at one point, I don't know if
it should be standard for all of them.
Yeah,
like,
exactly it.
It should be like, just say, a little developer, $50 to put on the store for like, just say, like 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Should we say as Epic, like $50 as well? Like, they're still making free money. Like, they don't need.
From what it used to be, it was like the minimum. I think was like $300 to put an app in store.
Yeah, now it's. I've no idea what it is now, but
it's just unnecessary that they like, oh, you want to have it in a store.
Microsoft just bought Bethesda. They're getting the right to put theirs on their platform first, technically.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I
Early
mean,
access.
why? You're not going to get any new people from PlayStation or Nintendo over to there just to play them
No,
because they'll come to there
it's
later.
more
Like,
yeah, exactly. I think it's more or less to go. We own them, so we'll more appease to the audience that we're trying to sell it to first, so they get the better experience to play it first, and then everyone else can play it later. But at the same time, everyone. But then the downside to that, with the example for Bethesda, with how Bethesda have always been, it's like, well, Xbox will get it first. We'll have to deal with all the updates. The game's already fine-tuned, and when it comes to PlayStation and everything else, it's already patched. It's perfect to go.
Yeah.
So we're all the test experiment, like test subjects, guinea pigs over here on Xbox, going, "Oh, this is broken. What's this glitch? Oh, my save's deleted. Oh," and then PlayStation finally get, "Oh, they're like, oh, you had it for a month or 2 months. Oh, look, this game's perfect. What were you complaining about a month ago?" It's like, well, you didn't have to play with it when it was broken. Go
It's
to a
like
testing
Cyberpunk.
page.
Just think, if Cyberpunk was out on PC only and then later to consoles would get the best experience because it would have been patched, it would have been like tested.
Exactly.
Like
There would
what
have played more
Microsoft
time
did,
still
they kind of wasted hundreds of millions, or what was it, 750 billion or something, like whatever it
to
was.
buy Bethesda.
Like they're not making that back anytime soon.
I think at the same though too. I think it actually was to help save them because they were going through a struggle
Not
spout as
really.
well in
Like
a weird spot.
they're
They
owned by what ZeniMax still. Like they were still going to be pretty comfortable, like because they've still got Elder Scrolls 6 coming, Starfield, like all the big ass games. Fallout 5 eventually.
Weird thing that was
Which
going on because we've got
I
the
think
whole
they're still
company.
being multi-plat because they really have to.
They will be. That's what people were going. Oh, it's like nah. They're gonna still be multi-platform. That's the best way to
Like
make
it'll
as money.
come to Xbox PC first, but it'll still in like 6 months later, bam, PlayStation,
So
Nintendo.
much more money for them to make that way. But was it going to the news? Other news I've got. Talking about Cyberpunk. CDPR
Oh no!
announced their commitment video, which we all saw and everyone talked about.
Yeah.
So they sound their apologies. I felt bad for that guy because he basically goes, "I'm taking all the weight of everyone's aggression and putting it on myself." Like, oh,
Fans. I mean, I wouldn't call these people fans.
no.
The people who said, "Oh, you're still fucked up," I'm like, they just apologized, said that it was the board who released it.
I've been loving the. We've been playing the shit out of the game. We're supposed to put like 60 hours in the game. Like, it's fucking great.
I mean, I'm technically playing the PS4 version, and I get crashes and a few things I've showed you on
They're very
the
minimal.
phone.
Like I've been,
Like,
I play them on,
and
on
doing a
Xbox,
walk.
and I've had very minimal. Like it happens, but it's
It's-
not that bad.
it's
It's
not
not game-breaking
game-breaking.
experiences. Like there'd been some weird moments where a character would walk through an object. I'm like, okay, that's a bit off.
I've
but
seen Skyrim break more than
yeah.
Cyberpunk. Like my Skyrim crashed and I couldn't boot it up again. Like,
But
it was
like
that
at the
bad.
same time, they made that whole announcement video, and to me, I felt like I mean, say, okay, cool, they did that, but I feel like they didn't really have to. They didn't. They're not really. Like I don't know. It's
They
more
kind of
to
did
the share
because
makers, I guess. But
it's all been done by posts, which isn't really like face to face like that video was.
Yeah.
Like they could have said anything in those posts, but what he said there was pretty much true. Like the
Yeah.
board members released it, developers had nothing to do with it. Like,
yeah,
and he said that no one tested it, like all that stuff. Like it was a 5 minute long video.
But they've said that many times. That's the thing. In all the posts, they've said that many times. But clearly, people mustn't have been reading the
Nothing
posts,
like
not
that
getting the
though. Like
statement.
that was specific things. Like
Yeah.
he was reeling off.
But
Um,
I've read them a few times. But I was like,
What was interesting was the DLC is now free. Like that first DLC.
I thought it was free to begin with anyway. They were originally aiming at free
I
DLC.
think it was going to be paid, but they made so much from the game. I think they're giving us the first one free now
Okay.
to make up for
Which
the
is like,
failed launch.
yeah. So it'd be interesting to see.
Also, the patch is coming in the next week. I think in the next 7-8 days.
Yeah, should be
Now?
about 10 days at most. Not even that. No, 7
No,
days at
it
most.
was 10 days back.
7 days at most. I think it is now. A week.
Yeah, it's like
For the
just say
first big
in the
patch.
next week.
So it'd be
Um,
interesting to see how that goes since I've like done so much content in the game now. I'm gonna have like no game. Like I'm gonna get to the point where I need this free DLC because I've like done friggin' everything. Like
well, I've finished the game twice, just about.
twice, just about.
And I wouldn't be sad.
What do you mean twice, just about? Like, what have you been doing?
What?
Twice,
do you mean?
just about. You finished the game twice.
Almost, yeah.
Did you finish the game and then you start again, or are you just playing through?
Well, I just finished the game. I don't want to spoil anything.
But you
I just
finished
say
it, and then did you restart the campaign again? Did you?
I'm doing the last mission again.
Oh, you're redoing the last mission again. Basically, that's what you mean.
I mean, yeah.
Because you can choose. I think because you can choose missions or something. What you done?
No.
Replay or something? Didn't say something.
This isn't a spoiler. But the last mission, as I told you, like it cuts you off from the side missions, gigs, everything. It cuts you off completely until you finish the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And just say I finished the game, I did the credits. It puts you can either pick continue the game or back to the main menu.
Yeah.
And I picked continue the game. It puts you back at that last mission again, and you can just do whatever you want again. So you can just keep doing the mission over and over.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So I'm up to the second ending. I'm doing that currently.
Yep. So you're doing it again. The ending.
Yeah. All the endings are different. So like, why not? Like,
it's like 5 or 6 endings or something.
5? No, 4. 4 endings.
One of the endings.
3 and 1 secret.
I already know one of the endings. So basically the secret ending, if I were correct, is you do nothing.
Yeah.
You basically do nothing. That was apparently the secret ending.
But I'll give you a hint for that. The choices you make in the game lead up to if you can do it or not.
Yeah.
If you miss one thing of dialogue, you can't do the secret ending at all.
Yeah. And
not many people have the secret ending because they picked the wrong thing.
Yeah, so apparently
you got to start the whole game again.
I was thinking of mostly doing the campaign again after.
I think it's tied to a trophy too. I'm not sure, or achievement.
Could be.
I think it is.
If it's an achievement, then if you kind of do it the platinum, then you're like, But no,
I think I chose the right stuff because I'm awesome.
What else we had? We got Assassin's Creed Valhalla received a patch to fix a lot. Assassins. So Assassin's Creed surprisingly had a patch come out that had to fix a lot of problems with the game because apparently the game was broken as well, but no one was talking about it.
Because no one's playing it, that's why.
Everyone's too busy playing Cyberpunk or complaining about it.
Speaking of that, I kind of started you and my mate Aiden to a bit of a rant on the phone the other night about Assassin's Creed. It's like your Eivor versus his Eivor.
Yeah.
He was
my Eivor's still a child.
Because he's finished the game, like he's 100%ed it already.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of people have, surprisingly. And I was going to try and play it, but I went with Cyberpunk, and I'm like, I don't want to put Cyberpunk down.
Because the first DLC for Assassins comes out very soon.
Yes, and I've got the content for that, so I've got to get that season pass.
I think you'll be level 400 to play it, mate. I could be wrong about that.
Surprised.
I could be wrong.
But yeah, so I guess that's why it makes sense. I was going to say it makes sense why they would have gotten the patch out now too, because if they got the DLC coming, they want to fix things. So it's mostly not compatible. It may not be extremely compatible with the patch, so that's...
Yeah, but what was broken with it? Did it say? Like,
well, apparently the patch fixed quests, some of the world events, there was combat, there was all kinds of things, just general gameplay stuff that it was just not doing. There was like bugs for everything, so... Because
my patch was 2 gig. That's it.
Well, see, it was like an 8 gig patch for Xbox or something like that.
Well, mine was PS5, so I guess 2 gig makes sense.
Because everything's compressed or whatever?
No, it's not compressed, it's just wasn't that broken.
Who knows, yeah.
I don't know. I've only got 2 gig, that's what I saw of it.
And then, of course, everyone's talked about the, I still mentioned it, Ubisoft is going to be picking up one of the new Star Wars games.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be developed by the Division, not the one, but like the Division studio, so it'd be interesting to see what that game would be like.
Makes sense. Someone said a Mandalorian game in the open world. I'm like, nah.
Oh,
make it like
we've been Fallen
Order. Like, give us Fallen Order, but open world, man.
Well, there's that, but no, a Mandalorian game would make sense because like bounty hunting stuff.
Yeah, but
you level up.
You're going to climb a tower, get a view of the area, unlock it, like most Ubisoft open world.
No, but like how the Division went. Like you think about the Division, like specifically the Division, and then have that set in Star Wars. So it's just going to be basically Division reskinned as Star Wars.
I'm optimistic about this project. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best, but
it's going to be good. I reckon it's going to be good because Like, I'm
Is it-
very iffy with Division. Like, I like Division, but I'm not big crash hot for
we need
Division.
friends for it, which might be the
But
same
like,
with this.
well, you see how Breakpoint was more like Division as well, and like those games. So it already got the idea of that. They've got the open world exploration elements. You've got enemies that are level based, which they introduced in Fallen Order. Characters were very level based kind of stuff because that was
I
more
think
like
Fallen Order set a standard of this for fucking
Souls.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it really
Like,
has.
this has got to be up here.
And I
It's
definitely,
Ubisoft.
I can kind of see where they would go with a Star Wars game through Ubisoft, and it would be cool.
I've got
Especially
a
being
feeling
Launcher Studio.
It's going to be out 2023 to 25. It's going to be a long way away.
Still a while away. What's another thing I've got
Haven't
here?
got fucking Beyond Good Level 2 yet. Oh, come on.
Oh.
I'm keen.
What we got? Little news here from Grounded. They're getting some flying insects introduced into the test beta test, play test.
Which is specifically bees, mosquitoes, and fireflies.
Firefly, yeah.
The thing was, they said, which do you want? Bees, mosquitoes,
and
or
everyone's like,
fireflies?
all of the above.
And all the above. I was like, they've picked it and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put them all in. I'm like, then what? Give us a fucking option.
They should have known that everyone's going to pick all of the above, so...
The game needs it, because, I mean, we got bored, because we've done every... Except the water stuff, which we need to get on there and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried it. I kept dying underwater.
It's one of those things.
I tried to open the door. I couldn't.
Couldn't do it. What's another news? Just get through my news quickly. So also as well, some Fortnite stuff. It looks like they're going to be introducing the Predator as the next hunter, and it's under the content kind of pass. That's what my predictions is, anyways. Like, it's already kind of obvious.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, everything's hunters.
Yeah, but there's more hunters.
It's all hunters. So you got the Mandalorian. You've got Master Chief and Kratos makes no sense. They're not really hunters, but
They're just games.
But then they've got the crash.
Oh no, Kratos does. Kratos does. He hunted the gods down.
True. So maybe that's why they thought maybe the power of Kratos.
But still, he doesn't use a gun. So while they put him in a shooter, I have no idea.
I feel like it's just a cash grab. That was.
It's
but yeah,
a big name. Everyone knows Kratos. So.
There's three. There's I think there's 9 things you can unlock to go through, but there's the first 3 are the Predator so far. So one of the things you had to do is go visit the crashed Predator ship. It's like, well, it's kind of obvious there's a crashed Predator ship. That means the Predator's going to be in the game. So it's like, when has there not been a Predator in a game before? So Predator's been everywhere. Freaking the Easter egg in Wildlands. Take on the Predator. That was always fun. So that's where it's leading to, is he's going to be the next hunter. So
I've actually got a thing here that I saw. The new Walker TV series, like Walker Texas Ranger.
Yes, I forgot about that. You reminded me. 22nd.
Who was playing him again? I forgot who it was.
Beardy.
Padalecki.
Yes, and I'm like, he's playing Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
he's playing
not Chuck Norris, but he's playing Walker.
No, exactly. But it's but even then, I watched the trailer and it legit had the cheesy novelty, not novelty, but the cheesy quirkiest ways of stopping people, like the original Walker did, where he used to catch ridiculous things, and how it was Chuck Norris, typical Chuck Norris. It got to the point where even if you watch the original Texas Walker Ranger, even they kind of introduced the Chuck Norris
Texas Walker Ranger.
Texas Ranger, Texas Walker Ranger. I don't know.
Texas Walker Ranger,
he's Action Man.
Dale's been excited for this.
Yeah, I'm so keen. I love Chuck Norris, and seeing how they got with this, but Chuck Norris, how they did the show, they kind of went novelty, kind of funny stuff with how he did stuff, how he just would stop people. I feel like they knew the Chuck Norris memes before Chuck Norris was a meme, before memes.
Right?
You watch through the seasons, and he became more and more a machine. Just he would just do things where he just do something and he would instantly catch someone, or he'd be able to stop him. He was just like the Terminator, I guess. He just I'm running away from you, and he'd be like, no, I'm already here before you. How'd you get here in time? And they already had that kind of stuff where, there was that scene where he was chasing a guy, and he knocked over the shelf, and the shelf fell down, and, stopped him. In the scene, you could just see it happen. I was like, they're already doing it. They've already got, the novelty stuff where it's just I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna do that, and I'm just gonna happen to do this, and it works. It's like
That
MacGyver, I
was
guess.
a
MacGyver-esque,
thing
I
that
guess.
came out of nowhere. Like I was just on Instagram and I saw Padalecki's Insta. I'm like, why's he got Chuck
Well,
Norris in the top corner of his post? I'm like, he got a cowboy hat and a beard and Walker. What?
yeah, well, the thing was that this was actually announced a while back, and I forgot about it. And I remember them talking about that they were doing a new series, and I was like, oh my god, it's actually now! Like, it's actually now! I'm
Will
like,
come out next year, but damn, son, we're getting a modern Walker, like a modern day Walker.
yeah, because, was it,
It'd be so good. I mean, it's only on Stan, but
yeah, Stan.
I mean,
God.
Stan made good shows. Which I wish Prime was just Prime bought Stan and Netflix and just put it all on there. Because I'm thinking of getting
It starts
subscription.
in 6 days.
What Walker?
Yeah. 22nd of January.
I thought it was 2022. That's what I
No,
thought.
21.
Ooh,
I'm keen to watch it.
I've got Stan. God dang
I've
it.
got Stan. I've always got Stan. One show I'm
Stan.
keen to watch.
My name's Stan.
Stan. I can stain this.
I don't know why I thought of that just then. I'm just like Texas Ranger Walker.
Oh, that was good. That was a good one. I was like, oh my god, we were all over the place. So I was like, have we got news? There's so much news that comes through.
Also, segueing back to Bethesda, there was a little teaser during the week of some treasure hunter. What the fuck was he?
Oh, you freaking talk about Indiana Jones.
They got teased a little compass, a book.
I just said Indiana Jones, you idiot.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to.
I already said it. You can't be like, who is he? Is it Nathan Drake? They're doing a Nathan Drake game.
But it's not made by Bethesda, but Todd Howard is the director of it.
Yeah, it's the Wolfenstein studio.
It's made by Machine Games, who did the Wolfenstein
So
reboot.
is Indiana Jones going to be like Thick Boy? Is he going to be like? Is he? It's just Blazkowicz with a freaking cowboy hat and a whip.
I guarantee it's not Harrison Ford because I reckon it's their own thing, just like Wolfenstein. I mean, they kept Blazkowicz, but
Well, that's what I'm kind of curious about is because it's not gonna if it's not gonna be Harrison Ford, they're making
it's gonna be a whole new thing.
Well, there's a lot of news going on with Indiana Jones lately. So Harrison Ford's always been like, I'm gonna take this character to grave, which is never gonna happen. There's always gonna be more reboot stuff. They've got a game on the way, but then there's the looks at having Chris Pratt be Indiana Jones. So I'm like, is this gonna tie in? Are they gonna have like?
But when's that? Because
gonna...
Harrison Ford is making a new Indiana Jones movie very soon.
Yeah, so he's gonna be like another, like to wrap up the old Indiana Jones. So I guess maybe his character's gonna die in that, and that's it.
But you can't be Indiana Jones. Like he is Indiana Jones. You
yeah,
can't
exactly. And then they're like they're gonna have like Chris Pratt. So I'm wondering if he's young Indiana Jones, but is he gonna be what they're referring to as Indiana Jones? Is he gonna be maybe in a video game? Like, is he gonna be? Is he gonna be video game Indiana Jones? Like, because why are they talking about him being Indiana Jones all of a sudden?
I reckon that's its own story.
It's weird that all this stuff's happening now all of a sudden for Indiana Jones.
Like Insomniac and Spider-Man, that kind of thing.
How many times can I Indiana Jones? I don't know how many times I can say it.
The thing is, are they keeping it first person like they're shooters, or third person? Which I kind of want first person Indiana Jones because you got the whip and you're using the whip to shit. Like that'd be dope.
For everything. Indiana Jones is pretty good. Or third person Indiana Jones. What about fourth person Indiana Jones?
Fourth person, fuck's sake. No, but have Machine Games made a third person game before? I don't think they have necessarily.
I don't think
so. It's always been first person action, which Wolfenstein does fit Indiana Jones. Like they're both killing Nazis, taking on Nazis, and like it's set in the same kind of thing. So they could make it work.
I reckon it might be first person. Yeah.
I reckon it's first because just think Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones.
Actually put you in the boots. Yeah, actually put you in the boots of.
The only difference is
Blazkowicz Jones.
One's got a whip, one's got a gun.
William and Jones. William Enda.
William Ender. William Ender!
William Indiana Jones. Blaskowitz
Will,
the third.
William Ender.
William Enda. William Enda. William
William Ender!
Enda. It's like a
Um,
William Enda Leviosa.
William Ender! Well,
Oh gosh.
but we can write a new Harry Potter book with William Ender.
We could.
Speaking of Harry Potter, that Hogwarts game got delayed till 2022.
Yeah.
Which, that was going to come out very soon, I think. But that's now been delayed to get the time it needs, it put on Twitter. The time it needs to be cooked. I think people have learnt from Cyberpunk that if the game needs delaying, fucking
Actually
delay
do
it.
it. Like actually do it.
Like you,
Cook the game. And it's understandable being that we had COVID all of last year. Like a lot of things have like really put people on hold.
This year as well, like,
And you see it's still
no
it's still going. Like people are still struggling through it. So we're lucky. Like we're thankful to be the way we are. Lucky enough, we're not like the rest of the world, which is pretty fucked up. Like we're really lucky for some reason. Like it's, and
I mean,
fingers crossed it stays that way. But we're
Kind
not
of.
as bad as everyone else is still struggling. Like, oh my god, we are fucking lucky. From what I've been like reading into a lot of the stuff, I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
thank God. I don't want to go into it and bring it up again. It's just too depressing. Just be thankful.
But we'll get some happier news.
Well, I want to get one little bit of sad news in before we get to the happy news because I don't want to bring it around. So this is sad. This is the little bit of sad gaming news I've got here.
Smiling?
Huh?
But you're smiling.
Trying to keep it happy. I'm trying to keep it happy because it is sad. Bungie is shutting down its original Halo website next month.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah. So it was their halo.bungie.net. So if you've got any content, they were saying if you've got any content up there that you've posted up there, any of your like your records and stuff like that, that's all being deleted.
Sorry, get it?
So if you've got any videos that you've uploaded, like your screen caps and stuff like they used to have on their old servers, so even if it's, I guess it's on the old platforms like on 360, any of your old screenshots you've got, save them now, because all that stuff's just being wiped. They're just
it makes sense
they're deleting their stuff from the servers.
It's kind of keeping them back, or keeping that running.
So any things that you've still got on your console that it's not on the cloud will stay on your console, of course. But anything you've uploaded, like all the game types you've uploaded, if you haven't saved them, anything like all that kind of stuff, that's just going to be wiped. Everything's just being wiped, so the servers are shutting down. So all the screenshots, it's what happens. They're making space. They're moving on to new things. They're going to make
because
space.
they'll be paying for it to be up like for the last near 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things. It is what it is. It happens. So that's why I was like a bit bummed out of that one. I was like, no, and I couldn't even log into my account. It's like go to this thing to log into your account. I'm like, I'm trying to get the thing. I'm like, how the fuck can I log into my account? I want to save some of my stuff, and I couldn't even do that. Because I was gonna say the one thing that used to be a funny thing back in the day, or what I remember for Halo 3, which was always funny. You make maps and stuff, but then people learned how the way to when you'd like post your content, like screenshots for stuff. You know, you screen cap the game. Somehow, it must have been through PC or something, but people figured out how to like upload just random photos as screen caps. So people used to start slipping nudes of stuff in, just like random like pornography of course women. Like it was like, but it was just like stuff like pin-up model stuff. And they started figuring out how to like put them into the screenshots. So they started coming up on the websites and stuff, and you could like find it in recommended searches, and it's just like tits on your screen and shit like that. It's like, how did people figure these things out when they were doing this stuff back in the day? And like most people did like pixel art with like laying weapons and stuff. Like
10 or so years. It's not really
10 years ago, but even then, like people were doing that. It was kind of funny. You go through, oh, what's this screenshot people have posted? You know, you post all this stuff. You look up searches, you know, best weapon loadouts or something like that for screenshots, and there's like naked chick for something. It's like, okay, that's just there out of all things. Like it's so out of place. Oh,
yeah,
like, what?
Good
it's
loadout.
Funny. So it's interesting, but most time people did a lot of like anime hentai art out of like guns and stuff, and I was like, people making art out of guns was like, holy shit, like layering things and stuff. Like that's a lot of effort because you're going to spawn so much of something.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
The memories, oh, so many memories. Me and
that are
mate,
now going to be gone for good now. So
well, me and a mate did the Bungie logo with guns and stuff. We
Ooh.
we actually spelt Bungie, and then we used the colorings to do the whole arch thing. And then you can see me laying dead in the corner because I'm like, oh, look, we take a screenshot. And as I'm taking the shot, he fucking knocks me out in the back of the head, and I'm like, oh fuck. So you see me going splat across the ground. He's standing there going like teabagging my body in the photo. It's freaking great.
good old Halo teabags.
Oh, it's good old days. So it's one of those things. So,
I mean, Bungie website, like,
yeah.
had to
So
come to an end
it's
eventually.
one of
So.
those things. So, going from that, which was a bit of sad news, I felt
But
anyway.
we'll bring us back up again.
Back up again.
But in 5 days, January 21st, Sony are holding, I think it's a state of play. It could just be the one event, but it's Resident Evil Showcase.
Ooh, show more.
Which, Resident Evil Village, anyone?
Resident Evil 8.
Because I think it's meant to come out in like February, March.
We'll get the extra confirmation of what the actual game's called. Is it Resident Evil 8 or is it Resident Evil Village?
I think it's just Village, but they put the VII there like
8. And it's like people, and then the developers like one saying one thing and everyone's saying another thing. It's like, well, is it going to be Resident Evil 8 or is it going to be Resident Evil Village? Like, what are you going to refer to?
continuing from 7, like the
Yeah,
same
it continues
dude
on.
playing
Like,
it.
it's technically the 8th game kind of thing, but it's like, what are you going to refer it to? So
It's 7.5.
7.5, close to an 8.
Because it's got Ethan
7.1.
and I think Mia's back in there, and
Not an 8, it's a 7.1.
because did Mia die in the 7th?
Oh, I can't remember now. I've been watching a Let's Play through it all to see the ending. Or, I think it was PewDiePie that was playing it. I think I watched his.
I think we killed her.
Depends on what you choose. I can't remember.
I haven't finished it.
Well, the game had DLC as well, and it like was weird because like, it changed a lot of the stuff as well.
Oh, you weren't Ethan for that. I don't think you were the camera dudes and everything. Like
There's all kinds of stuff.
you're all different people, like on the cassette, on videotape.
I used to play.
It was weird.
It's too much to do now.
Really, it's a pretty short game.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know what time it was. They said, but stay tuned to PlayStation's YouTube account because it's going to be on there. Maybe IGN as well. They might pick it up and share it.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil Showcase, Jan 21st, man.
Jan 21st.
I'm keen. Also, April 30th, Pokemon Snap.
Well, I was gonna say if you got games you list, I can go to the roadmap I've got here. My 2021 video game roadmap that I typed out this evening, going through the list.
Yeah.
So basically, the announcements of games that we've got coming out for this, for the year so far that have actually been stapled for what month. Where there's a list of games, there's a bunch of games there still. There's like a list had like 15 other games in there that didn't actually have months. They're just like for this year, but there's like we don't know when they're gonna bring them out, but they're gonna be this year. So they had actually stapled what they were doing yet. But there's ones that are stapled in at this stage for actual releases. So I got these few months here there. So we've got January, which we've already seen now. We've got Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Complete Edition. That dropped recently. Yes. We've got Hitman 3 coming. We've got Ride 4 and The Medium for this month.
The Medium.
And then February, we've got Control Ultimate Edition is coming out. We've got, how do you pronounce it? Is it Neo?
Neo.
So you got Neo Remastered Complete Edition, and there's Neo 2 Remastered Complete Edition. And then there's the Neo Collection. So they're all coming out next month, February.
They're on next year, or PS5. I'm pretty
they're
sure.
on a mixture of it. Well, I think they're primarily PS5. I think from was PS5. And I think it said it might have been PC as well.
Yeah, because they're on PC, just not coming to
not
Xbox.
to Xbox. No, which makes sense because they're primarily a PlayStation game anyway.
Yeah.
We got Little Nightmares 2. We've got Super Mario 3 plus Bowser's Fury coming. Persona 5 Strikers, Bravely Default 2, and Destruction All Stars.
That's February. That's February 1st to get that with Plus. So
that's pretty cool. That's a cool little bonus.
Destruction All Stars. You can also claim it if you haven't got a PS5. You log in on the app and you can claim it in your library. You can't on the PS4 though. You got to go on the app and claim it.
And claim through that. That's pretty cool. March
I bet you missed
has.
out for it, which is sad.
Yeah, I'll have to try and log on the app and get it. March has Harvest Moon One World, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake, Returnal, Balan
Ooh,
Wonderworld, Monster
that one's
Hunter
Wonderworld.
Rise, Balan Wonderworld.
That looks interesting. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
it's like a Bollywood thing. I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, something like that. Monster Hunter Rise. We've got Binding of Isaac, Repentance.
Never
Repentance.
seen it. Never played
Binding
it
of
before.
Isaac was pretty good, so it's interesting. Disco Elysium Final Cut.
I thought that was already out.
No, apparently it's March. And Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
That looks good. That's a PS5.
Yes.
Hiccups.
And then April has Outriders, and of course Pokemon Snap, as you just mentioned.
April now.
Yeah.
It meant to be February, meant to be last year, now it's April.
Oh, it has April. That was as of. It might have changed again, but that's what it had recently. As it was only recent. I was going facts from all over the place, so it could have changed. I didn't really look into it. May has Hood, Outlaws and Legends, and of
That
course
looks interesting.
Deathloop.
You didn't get a PS5 for that, bro. Oh, I think it's on PC as well.
I think it might be. I'm not too sure. I didn't check. June has Back for Blood and Solar Ash.
We're gonna definitely play that.
Back for Blood's gonna be so good. July has Little Devil
It's
Inside.
It's on consoles, which why not?
Why not? And then October has Stray and Ghostwire Tokyo.
I'm keen for that. That looks so good.
So there is, I would say, we've got basically the months. So we've got January, February, March, April, May, then June, July. And there is a gap between August, September. So a few, I guess, I'm imagining a few of those games that don't have dates will mostly be August, September as well. So, and then you've got, of course, November, December. There's always games that come out in November, especially. So.
But isn't it interesting that you've said up till March and April, and Ratchet and Clank wasn't on there? And they said that was a launch window game.
Yes, it was one of the ones that didn't have a to be decided, and it wasn't sure which window it was going to be in. So I was like, So
same as Horizon, God of War. Like PlayStation have a lot of games this year to come out. Like, it's insane.
So there is a lot there. So
I've got dates. Come on.
No.
I still think God of War is March and April, that area. Like, they got a big game there,
like
and
there was
Horizon August, September. Like, both ends of the year.
And that's what I said. There was a lot there that was like not exactly. They hadn't actually been confirmed for what month yet. They were just
like
in
Stray.
That's
not a
confirmed.
Not a big seller, like for end of a year thing, like that in Ghostwire. No one knows Ghostwire.
That's why I guess maybe October, because Horizon will be November, like the holiday. November's always pretty big, so.
Oh yeah. I reckon.
And I like how they hadn't even confirmed anything for Halo yet.
No, it has been. It's confirmed for our summer.
They say that, but who knows what's going to happen there.
It's November, I think. It's the 20th anniversary of Halo too, so they have to do it. If not, they've missed a big chance.
They'll skip it. I feel like it's something. I feel like it's not going to go well. I feel like it's not going to go well, unfortunately.
I think they should just skip Infinite and make Halo 6.
Well, that's what's supposed to be, but it's gone weird. I don't know what they're doing.
Don't put it semi-open world. Make it a linear story. That's what Halo has been the whole freaking time.
I think they're trying to kind of go back to almost like how they were thinking of open world originally, but it's not too late. It's too. I don't know. It's weird.
Blame all they want in the lighting. The game looked trash.
Craig.
Good old Craig.
But no.
It wasn't just Craig. It was everything. It was the tree looked plastic. Fucking the grass was so bland. Like the dirt. Everything.
Cyberpunk looked better.
Still does.
Still does. Yeah. I should play a bit more of that.
I'm gonna play that later.
Either later or tomorrow. I'll play some Cyberpunk. But no, I think we're at the basically end. You got no more news?
I have one more thing, which I don't listen to this band, but you might. But Armie has left Bad Wolves.
I have no idea.
It's their singer. I don't know who it is. But I don't listen to Bad Wolves. If you do, that sucks that the singer's gone. Once a band loses a singer, they're not the same again.
That's basically it. Yeah,
replace the drummer, bassist, guitarist, like because they're just playing an instrument, but a singer.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly it. Either the singer leaves and that becomes a completely different band, or the singer just keeps going and doing his thing as the band himself.
I mean, he'll do his own thing,
Yeah.
I think, but like it's Bad Wolves 2.0.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's one of those things. So who knows what's going to happen? So
unless you get a guy who can replicate the voice, but then is the future album going to have the same impact as what Vexed had? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Yeah, listen to what you don't. It's one of those things. But yes, but I think they'll do us then. I think wrap it up. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, man. If there's more, I'll tweet about it as I've been doing lately.
Yes, exactly.
I've been getting more on the Twitter because it's handy.
It is handy dandy.
Twitter's so good. A lot of bullshit news like that Chris Evans come back as...
Oh, yes, exactly. That's what I've been seeing all lately. All this news is from Twitter. So I'm like, yes, I'm actually getting content.
But if you've done, Daz, I can wrap her up.
Yep, I think we'll wrap it up here at the hour and a half.
So, as always, thank you, beaters and beatettes, for tuning in for this episode 3 of 2021. And as always, we've been Dale and Jim, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
It's time to wake the fuck up, samurai.